Welcome to week 27 of the Mama Stay Fit Pregnancy Week by Week update. In this week, you're going to learn what is going on with baby, what might be going on with you, and solutions to any of the discomforts that you may be feeling. And then I'm going to share how I am feeling during my pregnancy. I'm currently 27 weeks, so in my final week of the second trimester, and pregnant with baby number 4. And so I am on this journey with you. And if you are currently pregnant and watching this, be sure to comment below to let us know how you are feeling, because we would love to connect with you on this journey. Before you learn what is going on during the final week of the second trimester, I want to share that my book, Training for Two, is now available for pre-order. Training for Two comes out September 10th of 2024, so it comes out this fall after this baby has been born. And it's all about how you can use prenatal fitness to support you throughout your pregnancy. So you're going to learn how to stay strong throughout your pregnancy with trimester by trimester lifting modifications, how to stay pain-free with pelvic stability and core exercises, and then also how you can use your prenatal workouts to help you prepare for birth with pelvic opening and pelvic floor release exercises. You can check out Training for Two down in the notes below. So Roxanne, what is going on with baby during week 27, our final week of the second trimester?
Yes, final week of second trimester, so almost 2/3 done.
Yeah.
Just a couple days away.
Yesterday, my daughter was asking me how long until the baby gets here, and I was like, we're almost in the third trimester, which means we still have 12 weeks to go. Which is still a long time.
Very long time, and also maybe more than 12 weeks for Gina. But week 12, baby's the size of a cabbage or cauliflower, which I feel like are the exact same size, so that one checks out. Or a Barbie.
I feel like a Barbie is much bigger than a cabbage.
I feel like a Barbie from like foot to head is like that. And a cabbage is not. That is a large cabbage.
Maybe they mean like the leaves of the...
Oh, yeah, because it like normally you don't see that portion.
We'll go with the Barbie reference.
But yeah, Barbie, that resonates.
Everyone should know what a Barbie is.
But during week 27, baby is continuing to open and close their eyes and like build up those muscles to be able to do that, as well as they're putting on muscle in their actual body because they're moving more and toning and building up those muscles. So like baby's like working out as they're moving. So it's a good thing. Their brainstem also is like fully developed at this moment. The rest of their brain is still developing, but their brainstem, which is in charge of like their heart rate, their blood pressure, and their breathing, is fully developed, which is really cool because baby's taking steps to be a full-grown human. Baby also now, their hearing has developed to the point that they can distinguish between different voices. It's not going to be super clear like I'm talking to you right now. They're not going to be able to hear exactly what you're saying. It's going to be a little muffled just because, there's a couple layers in between. But they can distinguish between different people. So they'll be able to tell like who is mom, who is dad, who is grandma, grandpa, or whoever is part of the family. Like they can be able to tell who is who. So it's really helpful if a bunch of different people potentially talk to baby. If there are siblings, they can talk to baby and the baby can learn all of their voices. That's really it with baby. They're doing a lot of other stuff, but we've already discussed the starts of those developments. But for you in the 27th week, you might start to notice that during the first and second trimester, your blood pressure naturally goes lower than your normal. So it's just due to all of the changes during pregnancy. Your blood pressure, you might have noticed, is a lot lower than it is normally outside of pregnancy. But we're about to enter that third trimester where your blood pressure comes back to its normal level. So you might notice that your blood pressure maybe rose a little bit, and maybe you might be concerned that potentially gestational hypertension is coming on. But this natural raise back to your pre-pregnancy blood pressure is normal and expected. We are only concerned if it rises above like 140/90, or you start having symptoms along with an elevated blood pressure. So if you start having any headaches that aren't controlled with Tylenol, any right pain around the right side of your abdomen, like the right upper side of your abdomen, you might start noticing maybe like a heartburn, or we call it epigastric pain. So it's like pain in your chest, or you have sudden swelling. So it's like overnight you swelled up and you touch your legs or you touch your arms and like there is like an indent left in your leg. We call this pitting edema. That is all concerning things that you should definitely bring up to your provider, especially if you feel like your blood pressure rose above your pre-pregnancy level. Another thing that people might start experiencing is round ligament pain. And a lot of people will either call this round ligament pain or lightning crotch, or it feels like my baby's kicking my cervix. That's like a really common one that we hear. And this is from that round ligament being kind of stretched as your uterus grows bigger and bigger. You might have felt a little bit during that early second trimester, but now we're at the end of the second trimester. The uterus is a lot larger and that ligament is getting a lot more stretched. But why do they feel it in their cervix, like in their vagina, Gina?
So the round ligament attaches from kind of like the middle upper part of the uterus to your labia, so your vagina. And so that's why you have lightning crotch, or you feel like your baby's punching your cervix, which is a common complaint that we get in like our Facebook group, and folks will DM us like, should I be concerned? It's just like as baby is moving or as your uterus is kind of stretching, or even just like falling more forward, coming more backwards, those ligaments are going to be stretching to help kind of support the uterine position. And if they pull just in the right spot, it's going to feel like your cervix is being punched because it's pulling on your labia. So yeah.
With round ligament pain, you're normally going to feel it when you move quickly from like a position, whether sitting to standing, or if you're like quickly pivoting, and you're normally going to feel it on one side more than the other because one ligament might be a little bit tighter than the other. The side that you feel the pain is usually going to be the opposite side that's tight. And why do you feel it that way, Gina?
So essentially, if one ligament is a little bit tighter, it's shortened and kind of pulling the uterus towards that direction, and then the opposite side is lengthening more. So it's overstretching, which is causing that discomfort when you then stretch it even more. And so you already have a ligament that's super stretched, and then you add more stretch with sudden hip extension or standing up, and then it stretches it more, which then causes the discomfort. And so things like Webster Certified Chiropractic Care, where they address the round ligaments during their adjustments, can be really helpful. Even like prenatal massage. So like my massage therapist will like do belly massage and address the round ligaments. Or like the psoas or hip flexor stretches can also help because it's kind of like the same area. So anything that's stretching your hip flexors can also be pretty beneficial to release tension in the round ligaments. But remembering what side you tend to feel the discomfort on, targeting the opposite side with your stretches and releases is going to be more helpful. And then you can think about strengthening the side that you feel it on, because that one's probably over lengthened. So doing like standing psoas marches or things that strengthen that hip flexor can kind of help like adjust the position of the pelvis, which may adjust the position of the tension within the uterus for more comfort.
And just like a quick fix until you're able to do all of those things is a belly band can help with that round ligament pain as well. Obviously, our favorite belly band is from Barbie. You can use code MAMASTAYFIT to get 15% off if you want to. We'll link it below. And then another common thing that people might be experiencing, and I say this is common, but it's not necessarily normal, is you might start noticing that you're like peeing yourself out of nowhere, especially like if you cough or like if you sneeze or maybe you throw up, unfortunately, at 27 weeks for some odd reason. You might notice that you pee yourself. I mean, I did it a few times. You feel
it's really just shameful.
It's just very
so sad.
You feel so ashamed. But again, it's very common, but it's usually if it happens once or twice, there's not necessarily a need to like run to pelvic floor PT and like there's this huge issue. It could have just been your bladder was literally full and you sneezed at that exact moment, and just there's only so much that your pelvic floor can do. A little bit of pee is probably going to come out.
During pregnancy, we just have more load on the pelvic floor, and there's more effort happening. Like it's the base of our core canister, the base of our stabilization. So it's just working a little bit harder during pregnancy. And then we add on things where we have shifts in our posture and our positioning, which is going to change the tension within our pelvic floor. And that change in tension could impact how well the pelvic floor can work. And so a lot of us during pregnancy tend to favor more external hip rotation where toes are pointing out, so like legs are a little bit wider. So when the front half of the pelvic floor has more stretch or length to it, it makes it harder for it to contract. And so if the front half of our pelvic floor has a harder time contracting to kind of close up so nothing comes out, you might leak a little bit. So the first reason why you may experience more incontinence during pregnancy is just your common positions changing the tension within the pelvic floor, which affects how it can function. And so if you feel like a sneeze coming on or like a cough or like you're about to, I don't know if you should be jumping around at 27 weeks, but if you're doing something that causes that stress urinary incontinence, which means like there's lots of extra pressure down onto the pelvic floor and it's causing you to leak urine, we want to think about what position is my pelvis in. So instead of like the knees being out, maybe the knees are more parallel to one another, or we have more of a neutral stance. Maybe you're tucking the butt underneath a little bit more, or you could even shift into one hip a little bit. Typically the left side a little bit more can kind of help change the tension within the pelvic floor so that you can contract and keep that pee in. And so for me, I was on a virtual reality ride yesterday and I threw up because I was like so nauseous, which was so embarrassing. And so I'm in the bathroom of like Dave and Buster's like vomiting because I got sick from this virtual reality ride. And I had to like shift in my hip and think about kind of rounding in my back a little bit so that I had less stretch to the front half of my pelvic floor so I would not pee myself because I was wearing light colored pants and I don't want to walk around with pee on my light green leggings. So that's something that I do during my pregnancy to help when I am vomiting or because like there's just lots of pressure when you throw up.
I found that not necessarily if you can't think about, oh, I need to hip shift and round in my lower back, just literally staggered stance, or I would lift one leg up real quick. Like if I was going to sneeze, I'd go, achoo.
Yeah, that's also because that just changes the tension from being super wide leg to like legs being more neutral so that we don't have too much stretch in the front half of the pelvic floor. Now, again, like Roxanne said, if this is happening like every single time that you sneeze or you cough, or you're vomiting a lot and you're just peeing all over the place, if you have stress urinary incontinence during pregnancy, it's more likely that you will have it postpartum as well. And we don't want to have to wear a diaper for the rest of our life or panty liners for the rest of our life, even though that's a huge business.
Yeah. People will say it's very common and it's super normal to pee yourself after you have babies or you're pregnant, but it's not normal. Common, yes, not normal.
It doesn't have to be the way that you live. And so during pregnancy, you can also work with a pelvic floor physical therapist. I think some folks think that this is exclusive to postpartum, but you can work with somebody during pregnancy because, again, if it happens a lot during pregnancy, it's more common to happen postpartum. And so you can use the directory pelvicrehab.com to find a PT near you. If you can't find a pelvic floor PT to work with in person, Haley Kava is our in-house pelvic floor physical therapist, and she offers a pelvic balance class, which is a virtual class. Pay as much as you want for it. So you can pay $1, you can pay $50, whatever you want for it. And that can really help you kind of figure out what's going on with your pelvic floor. So a lot of these movements that we were talking about, she breaks it down in her pelvic balance class. You can also work with her virtually as well because she's one of our favorite PTs. And if you're not finding any relief from the symptoms that you're experiencing, sometimes you need to find a new PT as well. But it's not exclusive to postpartum. You can absolutely work with a PT during pregnancy as well.
And it's also a really long time. Like Gina said, we have 12 weeks left in pregnancy. If you're experiencing this now, you have a long time until, if they say you have to wait till you're postpartum, that's like 16 weeks at least if you wait 4 weeks after having your baby and you have your baby on your due date. That's 4 months.
That's a lot of pants.
That's a lot of pants, or that's a lot of like pads and diapers. So just see one now, if you can. But that's really it of like the main things that could potentially be happening in week 27. Gina, how are you feeling though?
So this week we had our final second trimester prenatal appointment with our home birth midwife, and baby is head down, which is really exciting. She's able to palpate my belly externally and is like really skilled with knowing what position baby is in without using like an ultrasound or internal exams, which is really awesome. Like she can tell from an external palpation like what position my baby's head is in too. Like, oh, the chin is more extended or the head is facing in this direction, which I'm like, that's incredible. So if your provider is really skilled in external palpations, they can tell what position your baby is in, potentially even now, which is really cool. So 27 weeks, baby gets head down. She even showed my daughter like how to like feel the head. It feels like a little orange, she said, which was pretty cool. And then the girls were really excited to be a part of my prenatal assessment. So they helped like listen to baby, measure my belly. And then my youngest helped kind of wipe the ultrasound glue off of my belly as well. My son was less excited. He was too busy playing with the toys in our prenatal appointment, but it's still really cool to involve my kids into our prenatal appointments and to kind of normalize this experience for them. I also took a transcontinental, from coast to coast trip.
Literally.
via plane because I'm not driving that ever.
Don't recommend during pregnancy.
Do not
Highly
recommend.
do not recommend.
So I took a plane ride from coast to coast. Nonstop for a work trip out there. We were filming some videos for Needed, the prenatal vitamin company that we're partnered with. So on the flight, I made sure that I brought a water bottle with me that I refilled after I made it through TSA security, because you can't bring liquids through TSA. So that I was able to hydrate, brought plenty of Element with me so I could have electrolytes as well in my thing. It was a 5-hour flight, so we ate before, and then we ate when we were done, and then we had some snacks on the plane while we were there, but you could bring your own snacks if you really wanted to. I was trying to pack super light because it's just me and my child traveling, and I just didn't want to bring all of this stuff with me. But ate before, ate after the flight, and then snacking during it. During the flight, I did get up probably at least once an hour to pee, which was fine. And then that also gave me an opportunity to move around a little bit as well, because it gets kind of uncomfortable, like being kind of stuck in one position all the time. And then I brought a Courgeous ball from Tune Up Fitness that I deflated to use as like back support behind me, which was really nice. Because sometimes my like lower back area starts to hurt when I've been in a seat for a really long time. And so having that little bit of like support for my low back just was like so much more comfortable. Definitely wore my belly band pretty much the whole time just to give me a little bit of support for the flight. And it overall felt pretty good. I know that you can also wear like compression socks when you're traveling. That's not something that I normally do, but it is an option while you're traveling. That's very beneficial. Well. And then if you have a bunch of layovers, on those layovers, definitely like moving a lot during them, doing some like mobility work, just walking can be really helpful just to get like blood flowing again. Because if you're like seated for a really long time, it can just you can feel kind of stagnant in it.
And also during pregnancy, you're at an increased risk of developing what's called deep vein thrombosis or clots in your legs. And this is just from the changes, again, during pregnancy from our hormones and the doubling of our blood volume. So there's more likely that blood can just like kind of pool in your lower legs and then develop into a clot during pregnancy. So getting up and walking is not only beneficial for your comfort, but also to decrease the risk of that blood pooling in our lower extremities and then potentially forming a clot. The compression socks can be really beneficial for that. If you have like increased risks of blood clots in your family or genetics, it can be really beneficial to just have those. But also, again, it's really just nice for comfort as well.
It's probably one of my final trips, though, of this pregnancy. I might do like one more maybe in like the next like few weeks.
Maybe she'll come to the beach with us.
Maybe. Gina's
not a beach person.
I'm just probably going to start to hermit now that I'm entering into the 3rd trimester. So overall, feeling pretty good during this final stretch of the 2nd trimester. Still got a whole trimester to go. It does feel like it's going really quick, and excited to kind of transition into the 3rd trimester that will be a lot more of like birth preparation focus and kind of preparing for the postpartum as well. Thanks for watching What to Expect during your 27th week of pregnancy. There's a lot going on with baby. You might be experiencing some certain things, but know that peeing yourself when you laugh, sneeze, or cough is not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. And you can work with a pelvic physical therapist during your pregnancy. You don't have to wait till postpartum to find relief from these symptoms, because although we're at the end of our 2nd trimester, we still got like 12 weeks to go. That's a long time. 3 months is a long time to have to wear panty liners or to be suffering from any discomforts that you're having during pregnancy that you don't have to have. Pain is not a requirement of pregnancy. If you want more support during your pregnancy, check out our online prenatal fitness programs. We do offer them specific to the 3rd trimester as well. So if you are feeling like it's too late, you're already almost in your 3rd trimester, it's not too late. Take care of it postpartum. It's not too late. There's still, again, 3 months left of pregnancy. And so we have 3rd trimester specific options to help support you as you kind of finish out your pregnancy. For our prenatal fitness options, we have our app-based program, which is a list of exercises with short demo videos. And this syncs to your current week of pregnancy, so you can start it at any time. We have monthly payment options if you just want to pay for the months that you need. We have a 3rd trimester bundle option where you can grab the entire chest 3rd trimester. And you can also just grab the full program if you think you're going to want to use it for future pregnancies, because you maintain lifetime access to the prenatal programs to use for this pregnancy and all of your future ones. If you prefer to follow a video as you work out, we do have our prenatal on-demand programs, which are full-length workout videos that you follow at the same time. We have our fitness version of that, which is based on your trimester. So we have a third trimester variation of it. We have prenatal yoga, the same thing. Each trimester has its own prenatal classes. And then we have our birth prep on-demand program. If you're just looking for birth prep specific workouts, which are going to be full-length workout videos, and then we're currently working on a PDF for it, which is just going to be a list of exercises that you can do.
And if you're looking for a childbirth education course, check out our online childbirth education course where we discuss the science of labor and birth to take away some of that mystery to make it less scary as you go into it. Understanding what's happening in your body makes it easier also to kind of cope with those contractions if you're wanting an unmedicated birth, or even if you're planning for an epidural. We discuss all of those options of pain relief as well as other birth options available to you to bring up with your provider so that you can have an empowering birth experience. And you can combine a prenatal fitness and the childbirth education into a bundle to be able to save even more, along with the code YouTube10 to get 10% off. And the bundle is 15% off, so it's basically pretty much free at that point.